Good afternoon, everyone. Welcome to the Swift Current Curling Club. We are here for the 2023 Canadian Mixed Curling Championship. Kyle Jans here, pleased to be joined by Josh Music, and we're going to bring you all the action here in this third championship pool round game. We've got our feature matchup here. We have Ontario versus Manitoba. That is Ontario's team Scott McDonald of the St. Thomas Curling Club up against Manitoba from the Fort Rouge Curling Club in Winnipeg, Manitoba. Teams are appropriately throwing their respective colors as well, so it should make it for an easy viewing experience. Don't you love when that kind of wraps up and happens, Josh?
You always love to see that. You never want to throw a color opposite New Jerseys.
Obviously, it does happen sometimes, and we're looking into this great matchup here. We have an undefeated team, Team Manitoba. Went 2 for 2 yesterday. They are on a 8-game winning streak here, obviously an 8-game winning streak, and they squeaked out a victory last night against Nova Scotia. Beth Peterson, vice skip for this team, playing in the third position. She came off the ice saying, hey, it wasn't our best opponent to beat. We definitely know that, but a couple of unforced errors that we were able to take advantage of, and sometimes that's what curling is all about.
Yeah, exactly. This Manitoba team's looked really good so far. One thing specifically, they're averaging almost 8 points a game, which is pretty crazy at a national championship like this. And very interesting with that. They're second in the field still, 8-0, almost 8 points a game. They're second in the field in points per game to Saskatchewan, and that's going to be their opponent tonight at 7:30. So it's an exciting day at the Mixed Championships today. Sure.
And as per Ontario, they split a pair of games. They lost a bit of a heartbreaker to Alberta's team, Evan Van Amsterdam, earlier on. However, they did bounce back with an extra end victory over New Brunswick. And now after splitting those games in the championship pool, where you know that every game is really so tough along the way, this is looking like a must-win game for this team.
Yeah, they're still in a playoff spot right now, but you have 2 games left. A lot can change there, and there's a lot of teams jammed up in that 6-2, 5-3 spot right now.
This team actually, as a matter of fact, they did compete at the 2022 event, the same lineup with Scott McDonald, Lori Eddy, Matt Hall, Laura Neal. They finished 6-4 last year, so they're guaranteed to at least match that record. However, 6-4, it was good enough to get into a tie-breaking scenario. However, based on the head-to-head record of 4 teams, they were on the outside looking in. So they're definitely wanting to improve on that after just missing the cut last year.
Yeah, you always want to be taking steps forward.
So we see relatively open end here, and I think that doesn't really come too much as of a surprise, especially with the caliber of these two teams here, just trying to feel each other out and ease into this game.
Yeah, I mean, obviously, if you're Manitoba, you want to keep the hammer on your hands, especially in an 8-game game. You're thinking about that early. But for both sides, you obviously don't want to get mixed up too much early. You're still learning and get your feet under you before you start doing anything too complicated.
So that's Ian McMillan, second for Manitoba, making that hit. Works as a senior credit analyst for CWB Leasing. He's been there for about 8 years. And a lot of people will be familiar with the Ontario third who's settling into the hack here. This is Lori Eddy. Originally from Lunenburg, Nova Scotia, co-host of a very popular curling podcast, Two Girls in a Game.
She's been around the block once or twice. 1997 was her silver medal appearance at the Scotties. And she's still going strong at national championships here, so you'd love to see that.
Also represented Nunavut twice at the Scotties in 2020 and 2021. Infamous for earning also that territory, a couple of wins in a young team that had been improving every year, including a big win over Northern Ontario's Crystal Marvel one year. And then throwing opposite of Lori is Beth Peterson. She made an appearance at the Scotties Tournament of Hearts in 2021 as a wild card team.
She's grown around the Grand Slam Tour as well. Struggled recently at Manitoba Scotties year in and year out, but that's such a tough province to play in. You know, you can't hold it against too many people.
Absolutely not. We see it, and also with the way that the wild card has been working out with CTRS points, you always kind of see a younger and different Manitoba team that's collecting the points and, you know, entering all the events that they need and getting what they need out of those results. But when you're, again, facing, like you mentioned, a field full of teams like Caitlin Laws, Jennifer Jones, Carrie Anderson, the list just goes on and on. It makes it
Never
certainly
mind,
very...
there's always the junior teams coming up playing in the
That's
Manitoba
exactly
Scotties.
it.
You couldn't get knocked off by anybody in that field every year.
Kyle Weeb, of course, another name on the men's side who is an exceptional young team that never made it out of kind of that provincial rank and is still very much a name within the men's side of things as well, playing in its first PointsBet Invitational as well earlier this year, picking up a win over John Epping in that opening round. So it just goes to show the level of talent that's just developing in that province.
Exactly.
And skip Scott McDonald. 2 Brier appearances in 2019 with his home province of Ontario. He's curled with Nova Scotia, as well as partnered with Paul Fleming, who is actually a competitor here, just 2 sheets over, representing Nova Scotia. They did that at the 2021 Brier.
And yet to make a playoff appearance at his, both of his Brier appearances. So, you know, he'll be looking to make a push for the medal round here this week.
This is a team that takes this event, well, all the teams take it very seriously, but this is one that when they came together, obviously had very high expectations to get out of Ontario and also make a strong push at this national championship. Last year was the first time that they had that opportunity. This year, very much in contention for that again. They show, and they went through that strong Ontario field to get back here. 4 friends that have really developed. I think it started on the ice. They decided to join as a team, and then the friendships have just developed off the ice. Nora and Scott, husband and wife, just got married this past summer. Both members were in the wedding party. They did a team bonding trip to Las Vegas in the summer of 2022. So they're all about the friendships off the ice, which does go a long way, I think, in regards to team chemistry and bonding and just being able to communicate a lot as well and knowing how to communicate what people need to hear.
It's a huge help when you enjoy the people you're playing. You know, we see so much of the mental side of the game lately, especially with Matt Dunksman specifically in the province of Saskatchewan, working so much towards his mental side that when you have 3 other guys that play well with you, it goes a long way.
Josh and I have had a good chat this first end, and we see the Rocks get run up and down. Manitoba flanking the first end, so they'll keep hammer as we go into the second, and we'll take a quick break.
Imagine being able to stream every curling game from every sheet from any event, be it your Wednesday league game, bonspiel, or corporate event. Curling Stadium offers an all-inclusive streaming solution featuring high-quality cameras, ease of use, great reliability, and minimal installation. offering your sponsors customizable ad space on your streamed curling games and being able to sell video packages to your corporate events for increased revenue. With Curling Stadium, you can stream to any device, be it your mobile phone, tablet, or computer. Push the feed to your desired platform, be it Facebook, YouTube, or any other social media. Curling Stadium is simply the way forward. Where it's commonplace in other sports to televise every game, we want to do the same. Curling is a global sport, and it's time it gets the coverage it needs. Make your curling club the next Curling Stadium.
Here is what cowboy dreams are made of. Strong, calloused hands, open skies, the smell of leather and horses and sagebrush. It's getting off the road to explore, a chance to have a real Western experience. Hats, boots, and hard work. It's finding peace while connecting to the land and with those on the same adventure. Pull up a seat or get in the saddle in our living skies and Badlands. Saskatchewan.
Welcome back. Second end action, Ontario and Manitoba. Josh, as you had predicted, having that hammer in the even ends in this short 8-end game. We're seeing a few more rocks in play this time around. Corner guard going up and raise or a double takeout here being attempted by Manitoba.
Yeah, you always want to get your feet under you. Nice shot made there.
Occurs. The wife of Skip Kyle, they just had their first child recently. Very interesting fact, but both Beth Peterson and Melissa, they both have been baby girls on the same day, and they were actually across the hall from each other in the hospital.
They better be on the curling team in 16 years or so.
It would seem only natural. Beth and Melissa, of course, curl together on the women's circuit as well. So it's all in the family here for them. Beth, her cousin is Lindsay Kittredge, who's a longtime lead with Chelsea Carey. She's cousins with Connor, Robin Negevin, and Selena Negevin through marriage. Rob Gordon, who is the brother of Melissa Kurz, a lead there, so her teammates, Kristen Kush, cousins by marriage. All runs in the family here. Everybody is related. There's a lot of talent within that little family tree there.
Something to note as well, Manitoba starting this game with Hammer. They're 6-0 so far on the event when they start the game with Hammer. Of course, they're undefeated. Either way they start the game. Team Ontario, 3-2 when they start without Hammer. Both their losses on the event have come when they start the game without Hammer. Interesting.
That will be something that we will have to keep an eye on to this. See McMillan makes a split here, opens things up, and now sitting 2 counters really nicely spread out. Matt Hall is becoming a face that I think a lot of Saskatchewan curlers are now becoming more familiar with. He plays with Ryland Kleider, who is, of course, one of the up-and-coming curlers in Saskatchewan.
Yeah, if you didn't know who Matthew Hall was before, you certainly do after he helped Ryland Kleider knock off Kevin Louis in the PointsBet Invitational a couple weeks ago.
Yes, that was a huge upset and a great opportunity for them. They qualified for that event via the U25 Next Gen event that was held earlier this year. Now when they just can't quite get over to get that takeout, and now could be some trouble here for Ontario.
Yeah, that's a tough one to miss, but it opens the door for Ian McMillan here to put some real pressure on this Ontario ring. Both seconds in this game are playing in provinces separate from the ones they're representing in this event. Ian McMillan, of course, playing in Northern Ontario now with Tanner Morgan. And Matthew Hall obviously played in the Saskatchewan, as you mentioned just previously.
That's true. He was born in Dryden, Ontario, so he has that birthright status there to be able to work through there. He's curled. He won the Tier 2 Grand Slam event in 2017. Jason Gunlickson, plenty of Grand Slam curling experience. He was a great addition to that Oregon team for a pickup.
Yeah, he's bumped around a little bit in the past few years, but maybe he's find a good stick here on this Northern Ontario.
Peterson playing the out-turn draw here. A bit of a tap back. Quite a bit of ice. It looks like they're getting a lot of it.
Looks like it's running a bit hot, Kyle.
Looks like it's close to bite. It might just be out, but that is the opportunity that Ontario needed.
Yeah, you never want to hope for misses. When they come, you got to take advantage pretty quickly. So here's Laurier with her second.
Takeout attempt. Hall trying to bring this over. That's a great shot to tuck it in behind cover too.
Stick around for shot and a tricky spot for Manitoba right there.
So it looks to be most of the rock exposed, but there is the issue of maybe an overcurl or something to be concerned about.
Never want to get too cute.
Over, they want to get this. There it is. They're not quite curling up enough and rolling out of the house, which is providing another opportunity for Ontario.
Yeah, I did say you never want to get too cute with it, but maybe not cute enough there.
Donald also spends a lot of his time instructing and coaching. He's coached at the Trillium Curling Camp, which is a well-known camp coming out of Kitchener-Waterloo in Ontario, and has also been part of the World Curling Federation's junior camp, which was in Houston, Germany, on several occasions.
It's always nice to see some of the pros growing again on a junior level.
Guard in place. Ontario, opportunity to sneak one in behind here. Sits shot stone. Jump on it hard, and this one really took off.
They'll bounce in for shot.
Opportunity to, you don't want to nose, you want to be sure that you don't set up a double of some sort, so they must be looking at getting a roll, or are they looking at, which way do you think
I think there might be enough air to roll. back but here obviously it's both teams here have missed a couple of bits wide, so you don't want to do that again, especially with Connor's ability to jam. But that doesn't seem to be the call. That ice is pretty tight.
Expecting to see some weight. Are they trying to hit a broom side and maybe roll over to the other one in the wing there and get everything moving?
It's possible. You're accurate enough and you throw it hard enough, you don't have to worry about the jam. Roll over to the center might be the way they want to move the play.
All right, so here comes Colin Kerrs, first of Manitoba. Manitoba skip stones. Millen holding this. Put it right on the nose. Does look to set up a double opportunity. Second time has skipped Canadian mixed. One Canadian mixed doubles curling championship. 2013 connects with both of them here and is going to roll over nicely as well.
Beautiful shot, great weight throw, really manageable. And a great save by Matthew Hall as well. He's going to get Ontario out of this. As it looks like the force is on.
Great outcome for Ontario, who was chasing a little bit earlier on, looking at as many as 3 rocks, but it turned that around.
Yeah, a couple really good shots by Scott, and a couple one-time misses from Manitoba on the back end. Really let Ontario recoup their way back into this end and put the force on here, and those hits should be good enough to stick around for long for Team Manitoba.
So here it comes, last shot of the second end. That's no problem at all, making the nose hit. So Manitoba takes a 1-0 lead after the second end. We'll take a break and be right back.
I've been raised on the farm since day one, so I was born into it. My grandfather came in here in 1905. I want to continue the farm for him and generations to come. So
I think it's a privilege that we get to be here. It's just a wonderful way of life.
You know, what job is there that you can go to work with your dad and brother, with your kids by your side? Doesn't get much better than that.
Everything I've worked for, everything I've sacrificed, has led to this. It's out of your hands now. All the gold medals in the world can't help you now. You could throw the perfect rock and still miss, but it just takes one. You leave it all out there on the ice to leave behind a legacy.
Great outcome for Team Ontario, forcing Manitoba to one in that second end. As we pick things up here in the third, saw a center guard from Manitoba, and then Ontario comes up light in its first come-around attempt, and so that's building up a bit of a wall for Manitoba to follow in here and really bring the action on a good chance for a steal should they get this one close to the forefoot.
This one's really starting to curl now.
About the top 12, so definitely still an opportunity for Ontario to sneak in here as Laura Neal gets ready to throw her next stone. Laura, provincial constable for the Ontario Provincial Police, recently graduated from police training just this past September. She was the class valedictorian.
It's always something good.
Yes.
And there's a nice adjustment there.
Great second chance, and I think that's something that, as a curler, you'd love to be able to make, is maybe after not quite nailing that first shot and you get a second chance at it, you'd always want to make that second one.
Yeah, exactly.
Ian McMillan. Curling isn't his only talent. Last summer, he entered a long drive contest, and he got third overall, launching at 379 yards.
Yeah, I'll stick to curling. I'm no golfer for sure. But I applaud Ian on that 100%. Matthew Hall's back in the hack. He's going to bounce back this end. A slow start to the game. Looking to get back on track, and he's going to get a chance to take off some of this garbage in front.
Out a bit, but does leave that shooter sticking around, so another opportunity for Manitoba. Here once again for a Friday afternoon at the Swift Current Curling Club. The community has been gung-ho about this event all week long at this beautiful facility at Innovation Flex. Ian McMillan makes a
beautiful draw was made.
That's about as great as he could have asked.
If it's busy now, you better wait till 7 o'clock. Broncos share the facility. Championship room now in action tonight at 7 p.m.
A couple of nights ago, they were also in. It made for a lively atmosphere.
Expect a packed parking lot at the Islands.
Another chance here, Matt Hall opens things up this time around. It's for the Ontario colors, looking to try and represent Saskatchewan this year at the upcoming Montana's Brier. He's also represented British Columbia after competing for Ontario for a few years at the Canadian Juniors. He made the trip out to live in British Columbia so he could join forces with Tyler Tardy, and that was a move that paid off as he won that event. That was actually in Prince Albert, so the same place he competed at mixed last year. And that team went on to represent Canada in Liverpool in 2019, and they took away gold as well. So all a Canadian all junior champion.
He might be one of the most accomplished curlers on the ice right now. He was also a 2020 youth sports national champion with Wilfrid Laurier University.
Was slated to represent Canada at the World University Games that upcoming year as well, but as we all know, 2020 what happened, so that event was postponed or did not happen, canceled, so that opportunity did not come together for him.
But it's a great accolade to have, and I think in today's era of curling, we're seeing more and more players around Curling Canada national championship events, Grand Slam, World Tour events, coming out of university programs. You have a lot of great programs like Alberta, Laurier, Guelph, obviously, producing a lot of high-level curlers.
Absolutely, more and more of the post-secondaries are paying attention to that, investing in the programs, and it's great to see University of Alberta, I'd say probably the gold standard when it comes to it. And some of the curlers that have come out of there, including a couple from Alberta team, and Daniel Schmiemann and Paige Papney that come out of that. On the men's side, Armin Botcher, Karsten Sturmey, all teams that have taken that route from the university and are really making their own with it and finding those opportunities now.
Don't forget the reigning junior Canadian champions, Johnson Tao.
Absolutely. So Ontario with hammer, but Manitoba locked onto that right now, and so this call by Kurz here to hit and roll over, looking at a way to eliminate an opposition stone and then also find a way to also protect the shot that they have.
Yeah, both teams a little hesitant to touch anything on the pin there. But this might be the last time we see it before something's put in the middle there.
Kyle Kurz with his first. Hits. Too much of a roll though, and that one is going to come outside of the other end of the house. Now without really anything in play, is this the time that we see teams now making a move to the boards?
Scott's definitely looking at it. There's a little bit of separation between those two rocks. They're not deadlocked on each other.
Looking to unlock that yellow stone. Won't punch back the red one a touch, but opportunity to be seeing at least one, maybe two after this, if it's hit correctly.
It's a little delicate, but if it's made, it's really good.
weight choice definitely is going to be very important. O'Neill trying to just squeak this over. They need to touch a clip of it. They pick it out.
And that's not bad either. That's the way you
So Manitoba needs to freeze on this perfectly. Where are they? Beth Peterson was looking at the top 12 rock there. It doesn't look like that's the case, and yeah, they're not going to play the freeze. That's my mistake. They're going to be playing a hit and probably trying to get to roll behind cover.
They'll be content to play it a little bit safe here. Still early in the game, don't want to risk anything. No reason to get very easy to.
Does need this one to stick around. Get it just a little off nose. Keep it pretty centered, and blank attempt from Ontario here. Last rock, third end, Scott McDonald. All the way down, Broom from that ball is down. And they clip that, no problem. So Manitoba retains the lead, but Ontario retains the hammer. So the fourth end will be coming up after this.
We're for agriculture, for growers, doers, whatever it takers. We're for doing things with purpose. We're for the little guy with big guy dreams. We're for agriculture. We're for you. Nutrien Ag Solutions, leading the field.
This is it. It all comes down to this rock. The hours in the gym, the weeks away from my family. This is what I've been training for. And all those voices trying to tear me down, I'm here to silence them. We've given everything we have for a chance to get everything we want.
The Men of Curling calendar is back for 2024. 18 curling athletes from 4 different nations are raising money for various charities. Support them by purchasing yours today at curlingcares.com.
Welcome back. 2023 Canadian Mixed Curling Championship. Blank end from Ontario to follow, so they retain the hammer here as we get closer and closer to the halfway point of this game. Once again, we're seeing action towards the center of the house. Manitoba trying to just punch this one out.
That was a really great shot. Moves up around, but doesn't have to go anything too heavy. No risk of hurting yourself. Pretty solid shot from there. Matthew Hall back in the
Mentioned he moved to Saskatchewan this summer as he's playing with Team Kleider. Also said that the real reason, though, he moved to Saskatchewan was to get extensive ice and rock information ahead of the Canadian mix. So talk about dedication on behalf of this Ontario curler here.
Well, that's not the only club he's getting advanced information on. He's been practicing a lot of the Butana Curling Rink, which will be hosting the Saskatchewan Provincial Men's Championships this year. So he's a bit of a rockhead.
Bruins aren't down for this one. I don't think Manitoba was expecting this much weight to be thrown, and so now they're kind of calling an audible as it occurs, bringing that one into the house.
Yeah, a little bit heavy for the guard, but the big part about that is when you get something you're not expecting, you got to make something of it. That's what they do.
Matt's a good opportunity to showcase some big weight here.
Yeah, we'll see how many rocks we get moving here. Get ready to camp.
Neil connects 1, 2, get going. Spaces out those two red stones actually really nicely. They're really even.
He's a nice fit on this team, being a big weight guy. We've seen him a couple times already in this game. Be relied on to make some rocks move, and he did a good job of it there.
One more emphasis for the game. 5-rock rule, no tick, and allowing teams the opportunities to set up those types of ends with lots in front. Having a player like that who has that ability to throw a high hard weight and throw it accurately is really helpful.
Yeah, exactly. Here's Laurie Eddy back here.
points and holds that broom there. Wilson.
It's been a really solid game for Eddie so far. Going really well. Knows her way around the ground, as we said a couple times.
Manitoba connects with the one. They just hit that off the nose.
Just not quite enough for the goal. Still a solid shot.
Take out attempt. Lauren Neal holding this up. They're trying to hold the line because that is going to get the ball to the outside.
It's not a bad throw. There's no double available in the two reds there, obviously. We're going to see the first from skip Kyle Kurz here.
Kurz has competed 2 World Junior Curling Championships. He's won 2 Canadian Under-21 titles in 2014 and 2015 with Braden Calvert. Competed, it was 2015 in Tallinn, Estonia. The team went 10-1, winning the gold medal.
They beat Yannick Schwaller in that gold medal game.
That's true. They
You're
did.
probably familiar with.
Connects.
Nice hit by Kurz there, making that double real speed for Team Ontario.
So does Ontario look to be taking a crack at that double despite the angle? Because it looks like you could still probably roll to the outside and stick.
I think you can roll to the outside if the rough's there. You can always call for the double. I didn't see exactly what they lined up, if they looked at it deeply or not, but it's always there.
Yeah, they didn't look too closely, so I imagine maybe that might be gravy or bonus, but.
Scott's been throwing his hits real nice so far today. See if he can make another feature.
Ups 2 with Matt Hall on the sweep as they make the nose hit.
Yeah, the call looked like just a simple hit there.
And so then we'll take a look at this double. You might hear the applause in the background there. The home team, Saskatchewan, from the Smithford, is making an exceptional shot. They've had a lot of hometown support this week. They will continue to all week long.
And they'll be back on the ice this evening against Manitoba. Ontario's final round robin game in the championship pool will be also at 7:32 against Territories. Jamie Cooey.
No easy games around. That is absolutely for sure. And we will bring you all that action and break down all the playoff scenarios for you as we head into that final draw tonight here on Curling Canada Plus. Brought to you by our friends at Curling Stadium. Manitoba looking at the double. One. They just missed. So Ontario with an opportunity to crack the first crooked number of this game as we head into the fourth end break.
I think it could have been a little bit of a miss on the call there. It looked like a really nice throw on the rock. It was so close and they were off and on at the whole way down. Just needed to let up a little bit earlier, maybe. They just barely missed it. That was a really close shot. But leaves Ontario with the shot for 2 here. Tries to take the lead going into the fourth and break.
Hit for 2. Donovan to release his wife, Laura Neal, on the sweep. Holding it. Moriarty calling for an easy clean. Paul going to finish this over. And he'll stick around. That is a score of 2. One lead into the fourth end break. The teams will take a break, so will we. We'll be back in about 5 minutes time to finish off the second half of this game.
We're for agriculture, for growers, doers, whatever it takers. We're for doing things with purpose. We're for the little guy with big guy dreams. We're for agriculture. We're for you. Nutrien Ag Solutions, leading the field.
This is it. It all comes down to this rock. The hours in the gym, the weeks away from my family. This is what I've been training for. And all those voices trying to tear me down, I'm here to silence them. We've given everything we have for a chance to get everything we want.
The Men of Curling calendar is back for 2024. 18 curling athletes from 4 different nations are raising money for various charities. Support them by purchasing yours today at curlingcares.com.
Swift Current is great because everybody that we do business with, we know on some sort of personal level.
What I love about Swift Current is the vibrant arts and culture community.
I really like Swift Current. We are not a big city, but the size of the city is really good and we have everything.
Swift Current is a great sports town, great teams and great fans.
People say, good morning, hi, how are you, even though we don't know each other.
Welcome back to the second half of this game. This is a championship pool game rather, between Ontario's Scott McDonald and Manitoba's Kyle Kurz. Playoff hopes and dreams all on the line here this week as we inch closer and closer to tomorrow's semifinal medal games that will be coming up. Will all be determined tonight after the evening draw, and we conclude our championship pool. Until then, we have the undefeated Manitoba 8-0 taking on Team Ontario, which is sitting at 6-2 right now. Ontario making a pretty good first half of this game, taking a 2-1 lead, forcing Manitoba to its opportunities, and after blanking the third end, put together a deuce.
Yeah, it's been a really tightly contested game. A lot of ends swinging both ways. I think one of the big differences so far in this game is Lori Eddy's play. She's currently at 93% through 4 ends. Really strong game so far for her.
She's another one who's super committed to the sport and everything that she does from her podcast, of course. She's also the coach of the Ontario Curling Council Academy team program, which is the young team that puts together some athletes and is guiding them through learning how to become championship quality curlers. And I know that she takes a lot of pride in that and her abilities to be able to help these kids develop their skills and their talents on the ice.
It's definitely a curling life, that's for sure.
You may have seen the ads for the 2024 Men of Curling calendar. Well, she was in the 2023 edition of the calendar recently. Last time Ontario won a Canadian Mixed Championship was in 2018. That was Team Mike Anderson. They won that event in Swan River, Manitoba, and went on to win Canada's first ever gold at a World Mixed Curling Championship as well. For Manitoba, you look at the last time they won, you go back to 2019, and it was won by a team skipped by Colin Kurz, who is Kyle's brother. So him heading into this, there's a lot of joshing and ribbing in between the family to try and see if Kyle can match his brother's record. Not only his brother's record, but his mom has also won this event twice. Won that in 1991 and 1988. Was Karen Fallis.
It's a lot of championship blood.
Absolutely. She won those titles with Jeff Stoughton as well, another well-known curler, of course.
Matthew Hall back in the hack here.
Attempting to lock onto this one, but it's going to come by. Kyle Kerr is going to sweep this one as far back. Hits the back 12.
A little bit fast. He's thrown a lot of hits in the last few shots, so just got to bring it to a happy medium there.
That's one of my favorite things in curling, I think, is watching a player who can go from playing a high, hard weight, double peel, double run back, and then have to settle down and find the weight to make a draw to the pin or something right after. It does take a lot of talent to kind of be able to just guide themselves, finding the weight that they need to make those shots when they matter most, especially in such quick succession from each other.
It's a tough thing to do, especially thinking that it's mostly a mental thing. I think another impressive thing someone can do is sweep a guard, kill it a post, and get in the hack very next shot and throw a high heater. That's both just as tough sometimes.
So with that corner guard out, Manitoba would love to sink another one behind cover. Being mindful to not set up double opportunity. Clear that top guard. Need to drag it far enough that it will get enough curl.
He's gonna sink it right in there.
Sucked in beautifully.
Really curled nicely for him there. Both those two are really well sunk behind that corner guard, and it's going to be up to Matthew Hall to get rid of it.
Back. Ooh.
He's really got those hits down.
Yeah, hits it straight back though. It still does leave Manitoba 1 and 2. Both rocks behind some kind of coverage as well. Of course, one being a long guard, the other one being much closer. So they're actually looking at that one in the back 12.
It's going to slide right to the rock in the back 12.
They freeze on.
And Lorietti's back in the hack.
Both brooms down as Eddie attempting to play this freeze.
This one's curling. They're really nice. They're going to have to go to keep the line, though.
Touches it a bit, but mission accomplished.
It's going to leave Manitoba 1-2. That's a nice Beth Peterson back. She was a runner-up at the 2022 West for the West Championship in Saskatoon. She lost that final to Brown in Team BC. And that's become a more and more popular event over the last couple of years of it existing. Really nice to see a lot of younger curlers, you know, past the junior stage, but not quite competitive at the, you know, Brier and Scotty's level, get to be able to wear their provincial colors at a championship event.
Absolutely, and that's kind of one that I know a lot of younger curlers are now circling on their calendar, and a lot of great work has come in from Matt Gunstone, Dustin Nickish, and making sure that that event has become a reality and giving them that option to play. Lots of men's, women's play, and doubles as well is a lot of the focus.
And I'll tell you what, I've been to a couple of the games at that event, and it's a great atmosphere. You got fans right on the ice there. It's great to see. And it's good curling too. Damn good curling.
Eddie being asked to run this one straight back. Both those yellows could get going if she hits this correctly. Must be close. On off is the call.
Beautiful throw.
That was exceptional.
really just a microcosm of the game that Lorient has been having so far today.
Really turns things around, leaves Ontario shot after searching for that for a little while.
And we're on to Ben Gibson's last. As we get later into the end seems to shift Ontario's favor.
Ontario will be jonesing for a win here. I know that they were really expecting to have a 2-win day, and just knowing how fierce of competitors they are on the ice, they want to make sure that they finish as strongly as they can, and I think that is fueling them as well as we head into this final day of round robin competition.
Well, especially with 3 teams ranked 6-2 right on the bubble of the playoffs, you don't leave anything right now. If you can win and put yourself in a playoff spot, that's what you want to do every time. You don't count on anybody else to lose. And that's the way Ontario came out to play so far today. We're going to see if they can hold up to it.
Ontario skill shot. Guard what they have in place here. Yellow-red is pretty automatic, so they need this rock to stop in front. Looks like there's maybe a sliver.
Yeah, just a bit of that yellow. Might be a little daunting as well.
What you see, or even go a little bit under, you're punching that yellow into the red, which is going to ricochet again off the other red if they do choose to look at that. Or even the run. No, the run's not quite there.
The issue is you got to be so close to that red, and you got to throw a decent amount of weight to move both those rocks that you want to. Depending on where you hit the shot rock, you might just be bumping it frozen onto those yellows in the back. First real time, real discussion.
Yeah, otherwise everything's been pretty automatic, very little discussion, but all 4 of them down here right now.
This is a big end towards us.
Yeah, so they're going to try and hit what they can see. Spin that yellow into the red, down onto the other, and see where they lay. Big shot here coming up for Manitoba. Attempt, but when you throw that type of weight, yeah, you're not going to get much movement, and Just a little wide from what they wanted.
It was really precise, and you know what? I think they felt the risk was worth it with the middle being so open. But it's definitely not a great result for this Manitoba. But we're now seeing some discussion on the Ontario side.
There's a discussion on where exactly do you place this rock in order to make Manitoba's last one as difficult as possible.
Looks like they're trying to bring this one to the back button, back for Rich. Was that the indication I saw?
That's what I saw them looking at that. I wonder if that gets them backing for the draw or if they're trying to block the draw path from above.
That's my default is always get it somewhere in the top of the house just so they can use it for shot rock. And maybe make them take a wider path in the draw, but
I think that's likely what we will see here.
You want to force Calpers to throw something that he doesn't want to, especially after he just threw. Put a little pressure on him. Would be good for this Ontario team. This one's coming in nicely. It's really good. Looks like it's going to slide to the back house.
So that might have been the indication that they were looking for here. That is far enough back that I guess if you do freeze, it's not going to be guaranteed. So they did opt for that back path instead of the top 8 path. It was a good spot.
Not at all. Either way, it's Ontario's the extreme force here at worst, and get the hammers back in the advance. So no matter what happens here, it's a victory on the Ontario side, I think.
Here comes last rock of the 5th end. Room's down. Millen and Melissa Kurz bringing this up. They're trying to bring this as far as they can. They need full 8. They got to get close to the 4 foot.
Just wonderful shooting from the Manitoba front end.
As Manitoba takes 1, and this game is once again tied at 2. 5th end is wrapped up. 6th end coming up after this.
When you buy a lottery ticket in Saskatchewan, your money really goes a long way. More than 12,000 sport, culture, and recreation groups receive funding from Sask Lotteries every year. With Sask Lotteries, everyone wins.
Something new and interesting is always just down the highway here. Find hidden gems grown from the ground up. Hidden gems that can surprise you at every turn. Get a taste for the beauty that thrives in a place where we are given space to grow. Get curious in our prairie life and city lights. Saskatchewan.
Everything I've worked for, everything I've sacrificed, has led to this. It's out of your hands now. All the gold medals in the world can't help you now. You could throw the perfect rock and still miss, but it just takes one. You leave it all out there on the ice to leave behind a legacy.
Here is what cowboy dreams are made of. Strong, calloused hands, open skies, the smell of leather and horses and sagebrush. It's getting off the road to explore, a chance to have a real Western experience. Hats, boots, and hard work. It's finding peace while connecting to the land and with those on the same adventure. Pull up a seat or get in the saddle in our living skies and Badlands. Saskatchewan.
Back. 2023 Canadian Mixed Curling Championship here at the Swift Current Curling Club. Kyle Jans, Josh Music on the call. We've had a close game between these two teams, Manitoba and Ontario. Ontario, though, maintaining control of the hammer in that all-important even end after forcing Manitoba to one. It has a great opportunity here to build on that.
Yeah, it's really been a tale of two games here. A couple ends now we've seen Manitoba get off to a real hot start, sitting a couple, and Ontario's back end has been bringing ends back for him a lot. Manitoba's front end has the edge on Ontario, definitely percentage-wise, but the back end, Ontario's really been playing incredible. Orietti and Scott McDonald have been making some really nice shots to keep them in control of the hammer.
Key miss on a risky shot last end from Manitoba, and they have the high hard way trying to pick what it could see, which was just a sliver of this Ontario scone, and that kind of changed the fortunes of the teams that time around. And as you had mentioned earlier, the end was open enough that Manitoba was at least comfortable enough with knowing that if it missed, that the draw would be there, and they did so with a great sweep from Melissa Kurz and Ian McMillan to get that one there and get that single point to at least keep this game tied. But Manitoba is yet to score more than a single point.
Yeah, and to your point, I think it was a great pair by Laurie to set up and really turn the end around, put the pressure on Manitoba. They were looking at, not a lot of opportunity, so they took that and a tough miss it was, but I think Kyle Kurz was able to rely on the sweepers there. That's something that you can always rely on. Is a really big part of this team, a really big reason why they're undefeated so far in the field.
Ontario about to clear out this center guard.
And that's something they've looked to Matthew for all game. Some a little more complicated than that, some a little, he's thrown some run backs, a couple doubles, but he seems to be the reliable heavy hitter on the team they keep looking back to.
Center guard is the call for Manitoba. A little bit of discussion on whether they wanted to bring the play into the house. Risk of setting up a double or something of the like, though. I think if you get a little too close this early on.
Well, they've got their second shot set up pretty well. Maybe it's third, now looking at it second. And that second Ontario red is behind in the back house. So you don't mind leaving it for a couple shots here before you make a big move. Looks like it is Ontario too, excuse me.
Back-to-back appeals from Matt Hall.
Yeah, he makes those in his sleep. He's been making them all day. As we look to Beth Peterson now.
Kerr's taking a real close look at everything in the house. He knows that at some point they will have to make a move on that, especially as they would love to be able to set up a steal this end, but it's going to be hard to do without anything up front. Those two Yellowstones in Manitoba are in favorable positions at the top of the house and can be run back if needed.
Another big cheer for the hometown Saskatchewan.
They made a perfect freeze.
And that's something Manitoba can look forward to playing against tonight at 7:30. Because they got Team Saskatchewan on home ice.
It'll be all about finishing strong for all of these teams in the championship pool.
But we're looking at a lot of teams still in the field with championship hopes.
Ooh, and that's an unfortunate error from Manitoba, or from Ontario rather.
Lorietti, your first real big miss of the game. And that opens the door for this Manitoba team to try and put a lot of pressure on. There's Beth Peterson's second rock at the end.
Peterson and Melissa Kurz, they actually won the 2020 provincial mixed championship and were slated to be representing Manitoba at that following mixed event in 2021, I believe it was. However, they were coming with Braden Calvert at the time, and there were some schedule conflicts, so the team was not able to compete, and they sent another team on behalf of Manitoba. So now they're getting that opportunity after winning the provincial championship again to represent the province. As Beth Peterson, yeah, locks that in. I think both you can probably get going with a nose hit, but that's what you like to see in a Manitoba fan. A lot of yellow crowd right now.
Oh, for the freeze for Lorietti.
Freeze attempt here, yeah, even just a little tap back and maybe set up a little bit of a pocket.
Yeah, you also want to give her something a little wheelhouse here. This is definitely a bit better after a tough miss on the last shot.
Sweeper's hanging back on this one though, it looks heavy. Yeah, this one connects with one of the Manitoba stones, but leaves it open. And those are, after a really strong game, those are two back-to-back misses that are really unfortunate for Manitoba.
Yeah, some visible frustration from Lorietti there after a tough pair, and it's going to open the door for Manitoba to really just put some more stuff in the way here if Ontario anywhere near the button.
Yeah, they'll be relying on sinking another one in here, and then Ontario will need to rely on some big weight from Scott McDonald in order to attempt to bail them out here a little bit.
Yeah, we'll see. He's only going to have one shot to get rid of as much as he can.
Better than 3 counters in the forefoot. Well, 4 would be, and that's what Manitoba's attempting here.
Yeah, they're really messing things up here for Ontario. Not too worried about getting this one that deep, because we can see the lead there in the top 12, but big spot is just getting more stuff in the way from Scott McDonald, being able to clear out as much as he can. He's looking in a lot of trouble here.
So look to see Laurietti lining this up. We're going to be looking at a run back, red run back into the yellow, and into that little cluster. Ontario really needs to open up that center, not only the center, but the forefoot for a chance to try and get something here.
Yeah, Scott's hoping for any chance at a shot for one here. He might be looking at something just to try and knock him down on his last, unless he can make a real crazy shot here.
Let's see, Scott McDonald pushing out of the hack. All down. He clips it, but that's going to leave Ontario in a lot of trouble.
Yeah, he's lucky he touched everything there. I thought he might have missed everything at the top, but he gets rid of the top yellow, which at least keeps Manitoba from just locking another one right in the forefoot there. You know, he was just sort of throwing it, trying to get rid of whatever he could. Wasn't quite there for him that time. I think it's a real turning point.
Manitoba's front end coming down for a bit of a team discussion. I think the discussion was either putting it, locking it in the top four in that little pocket that's created, but Manitoba's going to play a similar shot to what they just did. Right on the center line, kind of where the top of the 8-foot meets the top of the 12.
And I think that's the call here for sure. They're sitting pretty good. There's not a lot they can do. But I think you make them try and draw in there and catch it. I think you're sitting pretty good if you're Manitoba.
So here is Manitoba's last shot. As much, and I think they're doing maybe a touch deeper than they hoped.
Yeah, I don't think that was the call there, but
no, they wanted that one closer to the center and definitely up a little higher, but they bring it in for fourth shot. So Ontario will aim at that pocket, hitting the one closest to the broom side, ricochet up off the one that Manitoba just threw, and it bounces down and makes a little bit of action into those two that are on the button. Stay a steal is still very much a possibility.
I think we're going to see a demo on how hard Scott McDonald can throw a rock here.
Ontario trying to limit damage. Big weight. We need to get them going. Great shot from Ontario. So what looking as much of a steal at 3 or 4 really turns into a steal of 1. Manitoba takes a 3-2 lead, and we'll be back after this.
Here is what cowboy dreams are made of. Strong, calloused hands, open skies, the smell of leather and horses and sagebrush. It's getting off the road to explore, a chance to have a real Western experience. Hats, boots, and hard work. It's finding peace while connecting to the land and with those on the same adventure. Pull up a seat or get in the saddle in our living skies and Badlands. Saskatchewan.
When you buy a lottery ticket in Saskatchewan, your money really goes a long way. More than 12,000 sport, culture, and recreation groups receive funding from Sask Lotteries every year. With Sask Lotteries, everyone wins.
The Men of Curling calendar is more than a date provider. Each edition is packed with beautiful images and tons of curling information too. Support curlers and charity by buying yours today at curlingcares.com.
Welcome back to the Swift Current Curling Club. 3-2 lead for Manitoba after a steal of one, but Josh, it could have been a lot worse. Manitoba had a chance to really go for the jugular last end, but kind of a missed shot on Manitoba's last opened up the door for an out for Ontario, and they took it.
Yeah, just a curious shot by Scott McDonald there. That was maybe the best one we've seen all day so far. A bit of a miss from Kyle Kurz on his last, and he'll be kicking himself over it. Probably thought, there wasn't too much wrong he could do, but Scott McDonald took the opening and cut him down to one, which is about as good as you could ask for there.
Based on how that end was coming up, I totally agree. Steal of one was probably the best case scenario.
Here's Laura Neal back, throwing her second lead stone of the seventh end now.
Just connects with the center guard.
Here's Ian McMillan's first.
McMillan, a couple of family members who well known in curling, have accomplished things in curling. Peggy Werrett, his grandmother was skip a Team Ontario at the 1968 Canadian Ladies Curling Championship. That was one of the first ever Canadian Ladies Curling Championships ever to be held. Then Mark Werrett, his uncle, is a three-time Canadian wheelchair curling champion.
You dove into the record books for that one. Holy. Here's Matthew Hall's first to the seventh end. Started off a bit slow, but he's made a solid comeback in this game. He's thrown pretty well lately. He's been throwing a lot of hits for this Ontario team, which is what you're seeing from him here.
The double, a very real possibility. Just goes under though.
Ian McMillan's second. He's going to be looking to come under the center there. Ample cover for him to get under there.
They want to bring that as far over as they can. That's nicely behind cover.
Yeah, it'll get totally underneath. Not going to be mad at that.
See some more big weight from Matt Hall as now Team Ontario can take a crack at this, at these two center guards here.
Yeah, if they can get rid of some granite here in the next couple shots, they won't be mad at a blank in this end at all. A little bit of a discussion here, though. Matt Hall's going to get rid of one, touch the other one back, and roll his shooter to play.
And the one he got rid of as well was the Ontario stone. It does leave up that protection. Another yellow one from Manitoba as they'll try and replace that.
Beth Peterson throwing her first to the 7th end here.
I think there's a lot to be said of over the past two ends, especially too, of how this Manitoba front end has been able to set things up for the most part. Although this one, a little much.
Coming in a little bit hot.
Mm-hmm.
I think a lot of it too is Beth Peterson has thrown a really good last couple ends.
Mm-hmm.
You know, you've seen Manitoba's front end has had an edge most of the game over Ontario's front end, but it seemed that Ontario's back end was bringing it back. But one thing, the last two ends, Beth Peterson really picked up her plays, made a couple of really good shots. And you see a couple misses on the back end from Ontario's side. That's really let Manitoba get back in front here.
Laurietti is going to make two stones go away. Great shot.
That was a solid shot, and Laurietti's probably going to be happy about that. She had a tough end last. Her last two shots last end weren't what she wanted. So back on track here, she's got to be happy about that.
Manitoba utilized the center guard that they have in play. Look to lock this one on top of the rock that's at the top four. Interesting position for Ontario to be in now too. They trail by one and have the hammer in 7. It's a curler, I guess. Old question, would you try and blank so that you can take hammer and go into the 8th, maybe down one with? You don't want to get forced to 1, obviously, but if you take your 2 here, then you're down 1 without going in. It's a tough situation to be in, I think, either way.
I think my call is always to blank this, and I think that's what you're, softly seeing from Ontario here. They're trying to clear stuff out. I don't know how likely it is that we get a blank here, especially with the center guard staying up there, but I think that's probably most people's call in this scenario in the game, the way it's going as well, with the momentum that Manitoba seems to be building, I think you definitely want to take Hammer. Lorietti's just going to miss the double there.
Yeah, they really would have liked to have seen that, especially after Manitoba came a little bit wide on that one, or a little deep as well, and did set up that double opportunity.
So we had to skip rocks.
Hit and roll out to the wing is the indication from Manitoba. Get rid of the double chance.
Manitoba will be more than happy to force here.
First skip stone of the 7th end. Kyle Kurz hitting and rolling to the wing. Brooms down. Close to the nose.
Not going to roll as much as he wanted to there. But this double's still quite tricky. It's a little steep.
Yeah, it's certainly not automatic.
Yeah, but Scott McDonald, who had a hot hand last end, is going to look like he might try and take it on. We'll see how hard he lets go this one.
There it goes. Hall taking this, trying to hold this line. One. Rolls over top.
It's just going to kiss that second one.
Beth Peterson couldn't sweep that one, but trying to guide it or will it out, and they do so. She does so. That one doesn't stick around, which would have been nice.
It's looking pretty firmly now that Ontario's not going to get out of this with a blank like they probably would have hoped. Kyle Kurz trying to lock another one right behind that center guard, looks like.
That's the indication I saw. That's good. I mean, even if you leave a corner peeking out, as long as you're pretty solid on it and frozen, it's going to be hard to get rid of both.
Yeah, it's hard to miss this the wrong way.
Mm-hmm. Last shot for Manitoba. Manitoba calling on the sweep, trying to bring this over, trying to bring this up.
Looks like
trying to bring it
trying
by.
to go behind, yeah.
Mm-hmm. That's a good shot, as that, yeah, gets rid of any double opportunity, of course, with that center guard in the way.
Not a bad throw at all, no. That was pretty solid. It's going to be the draw for one for Scott McDonald.
And anytime that you're drawing against a couple, the pressure's on. We saw it yesterday. There was a big steal of 4 that Saskatchewan got on Alberta, and it was kind of a similar situation. It was a draw against 4, and Alberta came through just a little bit heavy, and sometimes when that thought is in the back of your mind that you got a couple that you need to count, it adds a little bit to this. And McDonald's been throwing a lot of hits lately as well.
Especially this late in the game. You know, you really can't afford to give up a steal, especially with 2 here.
So here it comes. Sweeper's close. Waiting for it to bend. Waiting for it to grind. Kyle Kerr is on the sweep, but that looks like it is good. So Ontario scores 1, tying this game up, but Manitoba will have the hammer in the 8th end when we come back after this.
Swift Current is great because everybody that we do business with, we know on some sort of personal level.
What I love about Swift Current is the vibrant arts and culture community.
I really like Swift Current. We are not a big city, but the size of the city is really good and we have everything.
Swift Current is a great sports town, great teams and great fans.
People say, you know, good morning, hi, how are you, even though we don't know each other.
The Men of Curling calendar is back for 2024. 18 curling athletes from 4 different nations are raising money for various charities. Support them by purchasing yours today at curlingcares.com.
We asked Saskatchewan what they know about 5G.
More speed, more innovation.
It's going to make our lives a whole heck of a lot easier.
This is what 5G looks like.
Better, faster.
Sounds like one more G. Sounds pretty good.
I don't know what it means.
All you really need to know is the future of 5G is here and will continue improving through investments in network technology.
Imagine being able to stream every curling game from every sheet from any event, be it your Wednesday league game, Bonspiel, or corporate event. Curling Stadium offers an all-inclusive streaming solution featuring high-quality cameras, ease of use, great reliability, and minimal installation. Offering your sponsors customizable ad space on your streamed curling games and being able to sell video packages to your corporate events for increased revenue. With Curling Stadium, you can stream to any device, be it your mobile phone, tablet, or computer. Push the feed to your desired platform, be it Facebook, YouTube, or any other social media. Curling Stadium is simply the way forward. Where it's commonplace in other sports to televise every game, we want to do the same. Curling is a global sport, and it's time it gets the coverage it needs. Make your curling club the next Curling Stadium.
We've been very entranced in our games so far, but let's take one quick look around the scoreboards here as we see the rest of what's going on in the championship pool. PEI, a team with only 2 wins so far. They were just up 8-4 over Alberta. They just had a scoreboard recap there, so let's just kind of see what goes out there. Alberta getting 2 back, so 8-6. Then we move over, we've got New Brunswick and Nova Scotia on the sheet next to us. Nova Scotia currently up 5-3 right now. Nova Scotia looking to earn its 7th win of this event. And then the fans here at the Swift Current Curling Club, pretty ecstatic after Saskatchewan scores a 3-ender in the 6th. They take a 5-2 lead. Saskatchewan hoping to improve to 8-1, while the Northwest Territories is 1 game back and hoping to even up their record as they sit at 6-2. Then, of course, on our game, we're here in second stones right now after the leads have set things up. 3-3 tie, Manitoba with Last Rock. 2 center guards in play from Ontario, a third about to be played, and Manitoba has placed both of their opening lead rocks staggered into the forefoot and top button. So it comes down to this. Ian McMillan now. Manitoba finally able to remove some granite from out front, and they'll waste no time in doing so. They clip 2. And even though he barely connects with that second red, there's just so much power thrown on that rock that it's enough to send it sailing out of play. Kyle Jans and Josh Usick on the call here on Curling Canada Plus. Brought to you here by our friends at Curling Stadium, who are bringing you every throw, every end, every sheet, every game all week long here at the Swift Current Curling Club. And after Ian McMillan just had a really nice double peel, gets another opportunity. Straight peel. And Ontario now deciding that they need to make a move on this as we get into third stones. Brooms down, it's a line call here. Laura Neal trying to hold it straight by the center. Great shot from Laurie, who's been playing exceptional all week long, or all day long, and all week long, absolutely. That clears everything out of the way here. Ontario wants to freeze this one right on top. Need to eliminate any chance of any type of double opportunity. Bring it up for every inch that they can. Walks it on pretty nicely. A slight little tap and a little bit of separation, but tough for Manitoba to try and move any of these ones because those two yellows are staggered quite nicely that any type of contact is going to send both of them going out of the house right away. So Manitoba's going to take a timeout to talk about it. Manitoba will blast this one. Reason being that even if those 2 yellow do spill, Manitoba does have last rock here in what's been a fairly open end. When you have last rock in a tie game, as long as you have a path to the forefoot for the win, I think Manitoba will be pretty happy with that. McMillan holding this down. Gets everything going. Skips rocks now on this all-important 8th end.
Yeah, here comes Scott McDonald's first.
Excellent. Or Neal on the sweep, trying to bring this one over. So they hit and roll, but I think they wanted to roll a little bit more.
Yeah, just not as much as you wanted there. Is Kyle Cruz just content to get rid of that red he just threw?
That looks to be the case.
Cleaning the path like they are. Clearly they like the way they're set up.
Yeah, it puts Scott and Team Ontario in an awfully tough position when you remove this one. You can't hit and roll. The angle is too steep for any type of rollover to sit shot, as that's no longer available, and it will pretty much force Ontario, I think, into playing a freeze. Yeah, so they knows that.
Solid shot by Kyle.
So the hit and roll, which is also, I like that call.
I think we might see a discussion here from Ontario on their last rock. Matt Hall's at least getting involved here.
Yeah, the freeze and the hit and roll seem to be the 2 options. I guess it comes down to what do you want Manitoba to have to play.
Well, the freeze is sort of in an awkward spot. There's no amazing turn to throw at it, with the top yellow being there, kind of cutting off the in turn a bit, and the out turn you kind of have to come out a bit wider than you normally would for a draw. I think the hit and roll is probably the call. You don't love it, but and with that last hit thrown by Kyle Kurz, they will be second shot. Following this, which is a huge bonus for him.
So Ontario's Scott McDonald digging deep to the bottom of the barrel, looking for the hit and roll. Broomed down by Matt Hall. Looks close. Oh, and they roll, and that is actually going to be the game right there, as Ontario cannot stick that shot. Manitoba remains undefeated after this, and that will do it for us with after this 4-3